Hi, I'm Dave Nesbitt, another quarter of the Lost Blokes. I am currently drinking a combination ginger and honey tea with half a shot of Irish whiskey thrown into it because I was
Mm.
unaware that ginger tea existed until Kat introduced it to me last weekend. Thank you very much.
Very cool,
But,
Kat.
but how though?
I know.
How?
I think this begs more detail. Even Kat thinks so. So, Dave, what are you talking about?
I did not actually know. I did not know that ginger tea was an actual thing.
Okay, we got that part.
Okay, until we went out to a Korean grill place in Bellevue, Nebraska, which
Mhm.
turned out to be, I hadn't been there in like a decade, and the food there is absolutely amazing, totally on point. And Kat was kind enough to order ginger tea for all of us who were sitting at the table,
A round
and
of ginger teas for
for
everyone
everyone,
with all the
and
fixins.
with all the fixins, because on the side there's a little cup of honey and a little cup of cinnamon and a little cup of pine nuts, and then you can kind of mix and match to your heart's content. So I was sitting there quite happily going, let's try a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Hi, I'm John. I'm also one of the Lost Blokes, and I am surrounded by my favorite movie man, Nicolas Cage. I am drinking my own spit because I don't have anything else to drink right now.
Let's try a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Look, I'm just saying that worked for the guys in Dune, so it can work for you.
Weren't they drinking a combination of their own sweat, urine, and occasionally some spit?
Yeah, but they had
just
a
to
thing
mix
at the
it
end where
up.
they're making kind of a spit tea while they were
Yeah.
waiting around for Paul to kill that one guy.
Yeah, and they all spat into that thingy, and it distilled it into like a little thimble full of spit wine.
I just want to point out that because I just randomly remembered it, that astronauts drink their own recycled urine.
Yeah.
And
That's
they
true.
never mention that in any of the pamphlets.
I'm the Mad Hat Cat. I'm 25% of the Lost Blokes, permanently exhausted right now. I'm drinking, I want to say lemon lift, but it may be a little weak. There's no additions to it, other than it is housed in one of the best presents that I ever gave / occasionally still back. It's gonna be backwards, but
Oh,
it's
yes.
Iro. It says
Oh.
delicious tea on the front.
Yay!
Or deadly poison.
Oh. It depends on the day. I'm Dan Carlson, one quarter of the Lost Blokes. I'm drinking the special 42nd Street edition of Sprite.
It's new Sprite clear.
Mhm.
No, it's crystal Sprite.
Well, it's not too clear. This is the grindhouse era. So
It's a 42nd Street Grindhouse edition of Sprite. So when you drink it, you get some variety of sexually transmitted disease and the opiate addiction of your choice.
I mean, if it's of my choice, then
yeah.
Oi, mister! You me dad?
Top 5!
at number 5, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
I literally X'd that off of my list at the last second.
It's not perfect, hardly any comic book movie ever is, as far as like
Spider-Man 2 was.
oh god.
Don't do that again, or I will come down there and smack the taste out of your mouth.
Okay, sorry.
I think but I thought Shang-Chi had really great timing for the most part. Like I said, there's always a few things. Like I thought the special effects were pretty cool. I don't think it was like super overdone, especially for something that is like so fantastical as far as like a a superhero movie goes. Like that, there's a lot of magic involved. But they really powered him up in the comic book. From the comic book. Well, yeah, but we've got to go from street level to galaxy level or dimension level for the movie to make him cool enough. And I thought the casting was fun. I'm a big fan of Kim's Convenience, and so I already know the actor who plays Shang-Chi in the movie, and Jung in Kim's Convenience. He's fun. And Awkwafina, did not know that she was going to be part of the cast, and as far as like the wacky sidekick who actually also gets a little bit of a story arc, that was not badly done. And
it was really good.
I thought it was really
I thought
well
they
done.
did a pretty decent
I
job
haven't
of that. And as kind of an honorable mention, or within my list of honorable mentions, I'm including Raya and the Last Dragon, mostly because Awkwafina is in it.
Top 5.
I don't know if you can hear that.
Like, comment, and subscribe for more of this.
Like, comment, and subscribe for weird hand things.
John,
Did Dave just freeze doing
I think
the
so.
anime opening dance?
I think he
Is
did.
that what just happened?
That's officially going to be his image from now on. Whenever I in the intro, when I re-edit the new intro with all four of us, after
Did
I
he
get the artwork,
freeze, or is he just sitting like that?
he froze.
He
'cause you can
definitely
see the
froze.
blur.
Oh, that's perfect.
He could sit like that, but you wouldn't see that blur on his hand.
Wow.
My number five. My number five. Five. My number
Okay.
five. Number five is
You're stalling. You don't really
It-
have a number 5, do you?
is Pig.
Oh, the
My
The-
first Nicolas Cage movie on the list. Pig.
all 5 of his movies are Nicolas Cage movies.
Didn't even five
Pig.
movies in 1 year is a lot, even for Nick.
Pig is the story of a man who lives out in the middle of nowhere, who did that by choice. He lives in a little cabin in the woods with his pig. His pig is a truffle pig. He is a truffle man. He is not made of truffle, but he likes truffles. Actually, I don't even know how much truffles he likes as much as he likes to gather truffles with his pig. He has a truffle pig. He's a truffler. He has a pig named something that truffles. And
Is the
somebody...
pig actually named something?
Is
What?
this pig named Truffle?
No.
No,
I
I
don't
meant
know.
like literally like capital S something. The pig.
Oh, something.
Yes, the pig is named something.
Okay,
I
I approve.
can't remember what, but some crack laden fellas.
By the way, the pig's name is Robin.
Okay,
Well,
well,
I like that
anyway,
much less.
So
Carry on.
so meth laden fellas, they steal his pig. He wakes up, to basically get smashed in the face. He gets passed out. He wakes up, his pig's gone. He goes on a journey back to civilization to retrieve his pig, taking along this rich asshole who he always sells his truffles to along for the journey. He has to go, it's like an adventure. They have to figure out, who stole the pig, why they stole the pig, where they took the pig. And it turns out that something is a little twist, but it's a very good movie. It's a very good movie. Turns out he didn't need the pig to truffle. He can truffle himself. He's a truffler. And so he...
Were the truffles in his heart all along?
My number 5, I think it might dovetail with a few others as well, at least some other people on the list, but Psycho Gorman.
Okay, that's on
was
my
number-
list. That's my number 4.
I'll basically say, look, it's kind of like if E.T. it's basically kind of the plot line of E.T. Hey, we found an alien. It just turns out he's an intergalactic warlord that can destroy anything.
And if Elliot were a malicious
Teenage
girl and wanted to use that power to control everything in the world.
Oh yes. It's so much fun. It is so twisted and it's so brutal, and yet at the same time it's also comedically so in so many ways. And yet other times not so much. It's one of those films that I love films that sit there and defy genre expectation, and this film totally does it for me. But it's a wonderfully twisted, gory film that goes into the entire notion of, hey, what happened if we gave power to somebody who hasn't quite developed all of their social skills yet?
Yeah, well, he is kept in check by the children who found him.
Yeah,
he's almost like a genie. He gives them wishes and stuff like that, but he's really mad to have to do anything for them.
Every time I give you a wish, I must be allowed to slaughter a population.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, an entire continent. You gave me a wish doesn't necessarily mean that I won't do it in a manner that will result in, what can you say, incalculable amounts of collateral damage.
Yes.
It's monkey's paw, but with what I'm guessing is like either an alien, a children's toy that's come to life, or some combination of the two.
No, he came to Earth in a meteor, and they found him. And having discovered him, the kids are able to control him, like because they have this device that if you hold the device, you can tell him what to do.
I'm sorry, I'm imagining this demon in Adventure Time who is like being held hostage by Finn and Jake's dad back in the day, and within his prison,
Give me back my blood, Joshua.
But now I'm hearing Gorbad say that, give me back the device, small, weak earthling
Actually,
children.
the comparison to Adventure Time is pretty accurate. It feels like Adventure Time.
Basically, like I said, I love films that basically sit there and either lampoon or defy genre conventions, and this film does it a lot. And also the idea of sitting there and being somewhat more, for lack of any other way of putting it, realistic in terms of how would kids handle having that degree of power at their fingertips, and not being particularly concerned about what the actual side effects of using it might be.
What if the Terminator in Terminator 2 didn't have Edward Furlong to keep him from killing everybody?
Yeah.
Basically.
And, also getting the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, The Last Action Hero. I'm getting a little bit of that vibe to it.
Yeah.
I think that little girl is the actual demon.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's always the case. Whether it's said explicitly in the beginning, or whether that last shot of the movie, the little girl is always the demon.
He's got this.
The game they're playing at the beginning has her requiring her little brother to dig his own grave.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the Addams Family if it wasn't quite as funny.
My number 5 is Dune Part 1, 2021. It's great. It's from Denis Villeneuve, great director. Love Blade Runner 2049 and Arrival, his previous two, which is why I gave this a little more oomph and pushed it up to the number 5 spot. It does something that the David Lynch movie didn't do for me, which is allow me to make sense of the story. When I was watching the David Lynch one, I didn't know what the hell I was watching. But this time, everything is very well laid out. I can tell who everyone is and what they're doing and what the stakes are. And I just think it's very well done. And I'm very excited to see the second half. It's a very epic film. I enjoyed it.
Okay, we'll get back to it being number 1 for far better reasons than what he gave later, but
That's why I was waiting, because I was going to let you take the lead on it, because I knew I didn't have anything too deep to say about it. I like the scene that reminded me of Phantasm, which is put your hand in the black box.
Yeah,
Ooh,
which Phantasm stole from
Yes,
the next
Phantasm
novel.
stole it from the book, but Phantasm got to the screen first, so point goes to the Phantasm side.
Nope.
No. Next.
Really added teardrop makeup, John, because you had one and now there's two. But I
Yeah.
definitely am pretty sure that you started with 0 teardrops on your face.
Does this mean you've
I'm
killed
pretty
2
serious.
people? Does this mean
What?
that you've killed 2 people in the time that we started talking?
No.
Multitasking.
I was going to say it's got to be up
Maybe
here.
in the corner
if
of my
that
eye.
is.
Then
Well, then what's the deal with the?
learn your gang tattoos, Dan. I'm
I
sick
don't
of
know
having to
anything.
tell you this.
I
Huh?
don't know these things. I'm still living in the 70s. See, look. So what is the deal with the black tear things?
Now we have to know.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Number four
Number
is
4.
for me is Dune, which I'll just say is better than either of the predecessors. It is very very full and very well acted and very nice and fun and epic, and I really liked it.
Well, that's what I said about it.
Vicious Fun is my number 4.
That's on my top 5 too.
Vicious Fun for me was, well, Vicious Fun. I mean, it's a film about a guy who gets really drunk and stumbles into a support meeting for serial killers. And then shit goes completely off the rails. It's based around the 1980s. It's got some total insanity going on. You've got a whole bunch of serial killers who are in a way kind of competing with each other because my way of doing things is so much better than your way of doing things. And then later on, when the police get involved, well, there's a bloodbath. And then there's a person who is a killer of serial killers involved as well. And it's just completely insane. It's really funny. It's also dark in all of the appropriate spots. It manages to maintain a weird kind of twisted attitude all the way through it. And as a result, again, it has some fun with a lot of the tropes that we've all gotten used to in certain types of films. And as a result of that, you really end up having a good time because sometimes you get a completely unexpected turn.
Doesn't someone get strangled by their intestines?
Yes, someone does.
That's how you know it's a good movie.
Yes.
Look, if there's not okay, let's be honest, we have to add that as one of our qualifications now. You get immediately a couple of bump points up if there's a intestine strangling.
I think automatic sleaze approval, I guess, for any
Yeah.
movie that manages to have intestine strangling.
Also, I'll give it squishy approval as well because it's not a weapon that you expect people to use for garroting others.
Which is a mistake. You should always expect that. No, your own guts.
Your own guts.
Or is it worse if it's someone else? Maybe
if it's somebody else's,
worse if it's someone else's.
Yeah, because that really does require a pretty hefty amount of effort.
And
like it almost doesn't matter whether you know them or not. There's at least if it's your own, you're like, the humanity. But if it's someone else's, it's like,
Well, there's the gagging on top of it if you're strangled by someone else's.
I'm gonna say The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Oh, what is this?
This was a movie that was released on Netflix. It's a 3D animated movie. It is about a robot apocalypse, basically, where a very revenge-fueled iPhone essentially turns on its creator and shuts down the internet. Society collapses, and this family, the Mitchells, the kind of main protagonist is the eldest child of that family. Unfortunately, I can't remember the character's name off the top of my head. But you know, we also I also love this movie because it's very subtly done and like subtly hinted at, and then gently confirmed in kind of the very end of the movie and sort of the credits scene. But the main protagonist is some shade of queer, and she's adorable and like very artistic. She loves making movies. So and she has a very fun dress sense. And the kind of before the robot apocalypse happens, she's getting ready to go away to college, and she just wants to get out of the town. She wants to go and, you know, study film and just kind of get on with her life. But, you know, family is very tightly knit, and, you know, there's a, but yeah, the jokes in it aren't always amazing. Sometimes in that way that, you know, someone took it to the punch up room and someone's like, how about this one? There's no time. We got to finish production. So yeah, that's what we're going with. But overall, I think it's funny. I think it has some good heartfelt moments in it. And, you know, I'm always a fan of queerness being a part of a character without it being the focus of the story. Like, just to have it in existence is good. More of that, please.
Number three. Three. Number three for me is Fried Berry. It's a psychotic movie about this guy who's like, we've described it before. Go back and watch our episode on Fried Berry.
We didn't do an episode on Fried Berry.
You didn't do an episode on Fried Berry?
I've never seen Fried Berry.
You've never seen Fried Berry?
No.
What?
I don't think I've heard of. Oh, I have heard of it. Yeah.
I swear we talked about Fried Berry.
When I say go back, I mean jump forward into the future when we have done that episode.
And then come back.
Right.
Oh, maybe I am fluidic in time as well, because I certainly remember a conversation about Fried Berry.
Okay. Anyway, so Fried Berry is one of your top five.
Fried Berry is my number three. Yeah. You just have to watch it, man. But it's so much
like
fun.
Cheech and Chong are reviewing movies.
Yeah.
Man, I don't even know what to
watch it, man.
My number three is the best horror movie of the year, Malignant.
Ooh.
Yes.
I still have to break down and watch it. So.
Oh, I was gonna give full spoilers, but if you haven't seen it, I'm gonna give full spoilers.
I don't care. Do it.
So it's this woman that starts seeing these visions of murders, and then they happen. So she starts to think she's psychic. And it's a pretty good thriller that way. It's filmed sort of like a Dario Argento sort of, like Tenebrae, one of his kind of movies. But then a twist happens in the middle, and here it comes. So if you don't want to know, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you are in spoiler territory. It turns out that she has an absorbed twin inside of her who is who is able to pop out of her body from the back, kill people while she's in a comatose state, moving around, and
a dream state, yeah,
and a dream state. So she's doing these murders without realizing it, and it culminates in one of the most fucked up scenes ever committed to film, where she has two bodies, one in front and one in back, and she's doing all kinds of horrible things and killing all kinds of people. A lot of cops.
All right.
A lot of cops fight it in that movie. From James Wan, director of Saw and The Conjuring. Not the kind of person that I would expect to have made a true grindhouse movie. It feels almost like Basket Case, if you've ever seen Basket Case.
That was the comparison I was going to make when you described it. For me, my number three, and some people might get upset because it's a miniseries, but I watched it all in one sitting, so it's a movie, is Get Back, the documentary on the Beatles and recording that particular record.
Yeah.
And to me, it's fun because, I had always heard about the Beatles' creative process, but sitting down and just watching them filling in the spaces and all of that, plus seeing the tension that had basically built up in the band over that period of time.
It's my number one out of my top five, but there is the tension is there, but I was struck by how much fun everybody was having too.
Yeah, everybody was having a good time, and when everybody's working on the music, everything's a-okay and everything's running at the right speed and everything else. It's when things kind of slow down and nobody's got anything to do that all the strange pieces of surface tension, George walking out for a week, and all that. Billy Preston arriving and kind of smoothing things out. And
man, was he a great addition to the band?
Yeah, he
Who's Billy
just
Preston?
kind of
The keyboard
Keyboard-
player,
Oh.
player.
kind of a bluesy
Uh,
guy.
He's the guy who does the piano solo on the song "Get Back," and he's just
Yeah.
an absolutely A+ keyboard player.
Yeah.
But basically, getting a chance to take a look and see a band that is surviving because of the absolute love of the music that they make together,
Mm.
and then watching as like John Lennon is guiding George Harrison on how to write the song "Something" is absolutely amazing.
Well, I mean, to watch all these songs that have been around since before you were born, as they're
Oh,
being
yeah.
created, is something interesting too. And it all culminates in that concert on top of the on top of the roof of their studio. Yeah, most of the tension that I could see was Paul.
I think that Paul is one of those people who's remarkably focused on whatever it is that he's chosen to do. And
Yeah.
at that point in time, everybody was kind of like, "We're doing this, we're doing that." And he's like, "God damn it, let's make some music."
Well, and they are goofing around. And that's what makes it so funny, is that everybody's even including Paul. They're always
Yeah.
goofing around. Like there's tons of. It's a long show. It's like 8 hours, and I'd say probably about 6.5 hours of that is them not even getting around to recording. They're just playing other songs or playing their old songs in the most jokey manner possible.
Oh yeah.
It just really works, and the level of just seeing it dug into at that level was just pretty awesome.
So what you're saying is we really never actually needed the monkeys. That
No.
the Beatles were the monkeys already.
I'm not saying anything of the sort.
Oh,
Just it's rude.
Yeah.
You leave the monkeys alone.
Yeah.
But, yeah, for me, it's just it's an opportunity to sit down and actually watch a band that is absolutely legendary, but to actually see their honest to God, creative process, and watching them going through the writing process and putting things together. It's it teaches you both the simplicity and the weirdness and the oddness of genius when you get four people in a room together,
Mhm.
and watching them kind of hammer out something where
I
everything all
wasn't
works
gonna
together.
say anything, John.
not
Wasn't gonna
saying-
say anything.
We are the fucking Beatles of
The
fucking
same.
movie reviewing and shit.
Exactly, man.
Yes.
And that's actually, that's goofy, but when I was watching the movie, I was thinking, because it kind of reminded me of like when we're all like firing on all four cylinders, how it comes together. And sometimes it's just goofing around.
And that's primarily for me the thing that I enjoy. I love getting into the background of how great art is made. It's part of the reason that I still go back and watch things like the classic albums documentary collection, to just sit there and see the process and to understand it.
At number 3, I'm going to put Luca, another 3D animated movie. I love it for kind of the same reasons as I love the Mitchells versus the Machines. I think it's got a lot of good funny moments. I think it's got a lot of good heartfelt moments. I definitely cried multiple times. It's also kind of it's another one of those good kind of non-United States cultural looks for people who live in the United States. It's set in Italy. Yes, Italy. Like on a little seaside town. And I don't know. Did you guys see anything about Luca ever?
I think I started. Was that the one where the mermaid or?
Yeah, it's basically fish folk.
Yeah. I wanted to finish it. I started and I was enjoying it because there's the scene that really his weird uncle, his weird see-through uncle.
My God. He's so and the credits scene, like I won't give anything away, but it features the uncle and it's so creepy. Oh my God. But yeah, it's fun. And like there's been some kind of back and forth about whether or not there is some manner of queer subtext in there between Luca and his best friend from the movie, who is very like rebellious devil may care. They both come from the same fish folk world. I wish I could remember the name of like their species, but it's very, no, we must never be in contact with the human world. And it's really cute. Okay, so I guess they call them sea monsters basically, and of course the human town fears them and has tall tales about them. It's a really cute movie, and whether or not you see queer subtext between Alberto and Luca, or if it's just about two boys sharing a really open, emotionally open and like willing to be vulnerable friendship, like it made me cry, not just like, oh, this is so sweet, but like it made me cry because I'm thinking of a generation of boys who will have gotten to see this and have an example of like, oh, it's actually okay for me to be like affectionate and vulnerable with my best friend. What a concept.
What
and
a
like
novel,
that
strange, twisted idea.
I just it made my heart swell to bursting.
Number 2. My number 2 is Prisoners of the Ghostland.
It's my number 2 as well.
Oh, very good.
It's not in my top 5, but I did really like it.
Good. I thought Prisoners of the Ghostland was fantastic. A fantastic Nicolas Cage movie where he only has one freak out, and that is to yell, One
testicle!
One
testicle!
One
testicle!
That was my number 2.
My number 2 as well.
But my number 2 is Street Gang, How We Got to Sesame Street.
Oh, good choice.
Which is a documentary
Nice.
about the people who created Sesame Street, not just the Hensons and all of them, but all the psychologists and people who were helping them develop the show so that it would appeal, get maximum appeal to adults and children. And it was always seen as a very progressive show, and they actually go directly into that. So
There were a lot of good documentaries this year.
Yeah, there were.
Yeah.
In addition to like actually working on my list, I'm also working out a list of things that, like 5 things I want to see from 2021 that I have not yet.
Yeah, well, that one should be fairly high on your list because there's.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well, on your list of documentaries, anyway.
No, on movies, it's fabulous. It's great.
Yeah.
I grew up with Sesame
If
Street.
the Won't You Be My Neighbor had come out this year instead of last year, it would be both on my top 5 list and on my top 5 things that I still want to see, even though I've already seen it.
Sesame Street basically brought Jim Henson in later after they had come up with the idea of doing this show, and they brought him on, and there was a mix of the human actors with the Muppets, and the Muppets kind of took over because that's the stuff the kids were responding to. But they were every week they were consulting with psychologists to make sure that they were delivering a healthy message, and they were aiming it a lot at inner city kids and things like that. So they always seen it as a political show. And that's why even today you can see Republicans attacking Big Bird.
Oh yeah.
50 years after the fact. There's a reason for that. But yeah, it's a great movie. Loved it. Would watch it again.
My number 2, Ghostbusters Afterlife. Again, not perfect, but I thought it was a good continuation of what already existed. Oh, do we have thoughts?
I just want to add that I don't think John put that in his top 5. And it's.
Are you surprised about that?
Yes.
It's only because I've only seen it once. Because I don't have enough exposure to it to really put it.
Whether it was just
right now,
the high of nostalgia versus actual enjoyment.
Yeah, I absolutely loved being there. I loved watching it, but I had significant problems with two aspects of it.
Are you going to share those?
Well, I didn't want to interrupt because it's still your turn, but if you want me to share what my significant problems were, is that the buildup at the beginning to the Ghostbusters theme and the event happening in the chair with Spangler would have been the very most perfect spot for the snare drum to start of the Ghostbusters theme. And like it did in the first movie, like it did in the second movie, like it even did in the reboot with the
2016 female reboot.
the female reboot, which was
Okay.
fantastic.
Which gets a lot of hate and is actually pretty good.
Which is
It's
actually
I was really taken aback at how good that really was.
it was an amazing film, and
It features the love of my life, Kate McKinnon. So
she's incredible. But
just being
the
Kate
problem
McKinnon,
was
basically.
they build up to it, and I sat there thinking to myself, "Oh, here it comes." And
And then it didn't
and the
happen.
thing happens in the chair, and then it just goes silent, and I'm like, "What?"
Maybe they
the
were subverting your
actual
expectations,
fuck
John.
was Jason Reitman thinking?
Kat, this upset John so much that he took a 3-minute break from our review last week to talk about this.
I was so upset that didn't start off the snare drum roll for the Ghostbusters theme, that I was physically and emotionally grumpy in the movie theater. This is the first movie theater movie I've gone to see in a long ass time, and the build up to that title song was
Not in the
just
correct spot.
fucking pulled out of my it was like a rug being pulled out from under me, and I sat there in the theater. I was literally like frowning at the screen, wishing Jason Reitman had been sitting next to me so I could have punched him in the fucking nose, because
This is coming from someone who liked the movie.
I
Having the same response as some of the people who hated it.
but the thing is that was so strong of a letdown for me that I don't even know if I want to see it again, because I'm just going to get all riled up again when that happens and the Ghostbusters theme. So I'm thinking, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my boombox with me next time I go see it, with it queued up to that very moment on the Ghostbusters soundtrack. And
I'm
as
the
soon
sound
as it
editor
happens,
now.
I'm gonna hit play on the boombox for everyone in the theater so that it comes up right at the right time. That, and I was upset by the fact that they didn't go into any kind of sense when suddenly they all just knew exactly where all the little new hidden items we've never seen on the Ecto 1 were and how they operate.
Okay. Kat, so this is your number 2 movie.
But I fucking love it.
Well, that's it. I love it so much.
These things made me very upset.
Sorry, but those were the two grumbly things I had about it.
So
Okay, so how about we have all of John's whining as the stinger?
Yeah.
Oh, did I say that? Sorry.
I don't know. That comes across to me like saying to someone you
Whining.
love who has done something that has just infuriated you, like, I love you so much. I do not like you very much right now.
Okay, I can
That's
go with
exactly right, Kat. I did not like the movie,
Distilled.
but I love the
That's the
movie.
vibe.
I love the nostalgia of the movie, but I don't like the movie. You're right. You hit the nail on the head.
But Kat did like the movie.
Kat did like the movie.
and
Kat
let's
liked the
hear
movie
why.
very much.
You're firing all cylinders.
For a number of reasons. McKenna Grace, and the kid's name is Phoebe, which is a great name for a nerdy, clearly some shade of neurodivergent kid who's super obsessed with science and building things and engineering. I love her. But yeah, no, I mean, Paul Rudd, he's another one of those people there. Just he's being Paul Rudd, and that's okay. I like Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
And there was no part of the movie that I just hated, and surprisingly, there was very little like in the way of like blatant nostalgia fan service.
Wait a
that
minute.
like smacked me in the face.
Really?
Like that seemed
the-
over
the
the
cat-
top and like dumb.
The candy bar? The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man?
Okay,
The-
the Stay Puft,
the-
the little
the
baby
demon
Stay Puft
people?
Marshmallow, there was a little bit more than that than we maybe needed. Like it
Okay.
could have been like maybe 1 minute or even like 30 seconds, but instead it was like 4 minutes in total, probably. Actually, maybe 5 because they show up on the Ecto 1 too. But like, yeah, no, the kids like accidentally destroying half the town. Ghostbusters Afterlife. As far as movie this year, like definitely deserves to be in a top 5. I really enjoyed the casting for Phoebe. And in the same kind of way that I loved the friendship between Luca and Alberto in Luca, I just love that it exists for other people to be able to have as part of their growing up. I love Phoebe's personhood, and again, it's nothing blatant. You know, they don't say at the very beginning, well, you know, Phoebe doesn't make friends well because autism or because ADHD or whatever. But like the traits are all very clearly there, and anyone who is able to relate to that is able to see this kid, you know, have things that she enjoys in life, have people who care about her, and be able to, you know, fail and also succeed across multiple different aspects of life. Win all around.
Number one. We're going for number one.
Number 1.
My
I
number
feel like I'm
one.
watching really bad MTV at 2 a.m. from 1980.
Yep.
Gotta
My
fill the space
number
with something.
one film of the year was Vicious Fun. It was so fun. It was vicious fun. It was this, like Dave said, this incredible movie of this guy who, you know, wants his roommate be his girlfriend, and he's like totally in love with her. He ends up going to a bar because she wants the apartment alone so she can be with her friend. And so he goes to this bar and gets viciously drunk and calls her, and then passes out in the corner in a broom closet, and then wakes up after the bar is closed and goes back in, and they're seated around a circle are a vicious group of vicious serial killers, and they're having their moment of
They're having
Vicious
fun.
fun.
they're having vicious fun, and he wanders in and assumes the role of one of them and starts recording it.
Are you trying to get more points for using the title as much as you can?
He gets
Sorry.
he gets discovered, and then one of the serial killers takes him into the kitchen, locks him in to save him. They go through this whole adventure. It's like this vicious, this. They're going
now
on
he's
the.
looking for his brain. He's wondering if it's on the
Yes.
ceiling.
Yeah, I picked Vicious Fun for my number one because I've seen it the most times out of all the other movies. And there's other movies that I like, but again, fluids.
I don't know.
You know, I don't know. This version of Dune for me, first of all, it's a total press play. I'm looking forward to the next one. Works for it's that very rare film. This one is probably going to wind up being my film of the year. That's nice, Dan. This film is going to be my film of the year, mostly because they took something and made it. They took something and did an absolutely amazing job of being very faithful to it. And also, it's that very rare film that for me runs on all cylinders. It works just fine. There's not a point in there where I thought, wow, that was weak. Like the entire way through, I was like, okay, we got ourselves a winner. Like I said, it's a very rich, well thought out world. And to me, I think that I am now really excited to see what they do with it in terms of it being a series of films.
Now it's time for number one.
Okay.
And I'm surprised that none of you mentioned it.
I
Maybe
would
none
like.
of you saw it.
Maybe I didn't see it. We'll see.
What?
The Green Knight.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I
The
didn't
Green
see
Knight.
it. I did not see it.
Really?
I haven't seen it. I need to watch it.
I'm so shocked. Is this like the first time that I have seen a movie that none of you have, and it's not an animated children's movie?
Yeah, I think so.
It might be.
And
Might have a winner.
and like, well, I wouldn't say there's nothing gay about it, but like it's not a main feature of the movie like some of these other things are. No, it's this fantastic dark fantasy movie with like little dashes of horror in it. It's based off of I want to say medieval kind of Arthurian type tale, or like Arthurian contemporary. It's basically this headstrong nephew of a king, and he's wanting to prove himself. He wants to be a great warrior, or to maybe be able to become king someday. And this mysterious stranger visits the castle, and I want to say it's probably on Christmas Day. And he's like, if an Ent were more humanoid and faster to speak, and it's terrifying, and the whole movie is just so beautiful. The color work on it is just it really sticks out in my mind as like one of the best movies I've ever seen, partially just because of how good it looks. The tension, the constant tension that is very infrequently relieved, reminded me kind of this. It has a lot of the same tension vibes that I got when watching The Witch. Like just, and it has that same kind of gritty old world feel to it, where there's zero technology, magic may or may not be happening. Is it a dream? Is it a psychotropic experience? Is it seeing into the future, but suddenly being pulled back and realize you have a chance to start again? I don't know.
Sounds squishy.
It's so squishy. It's so squishy. I think at the very least Dave and Dan would love it. I'm still a little bit unsure if John would like it.
So was it at all based on Sir Gawain and the Green Knight by Tolkien?
Yes. But yeah, you have the beheading game, these two classic motifs, the beheading game and the exchange of winnings. And yeah, no, this movie, I wanted to immediately call it horror, just because it has a lot of horror elements to it. But as a movie overall, I think dark fantasy is the best way to describe it. But it definitely has a lot of horror elements to it. I was desperately searching for a script online so that I could use one of the monologues in it for an audition that I was doing. It was great. Number one, all the way. I think it's going to be one of my favorite movies of all time forever.
Swish, swish, swish.